The special grade sorcerers that are considered as the peak of Jujutsu, feared and respected in their society for their immense power that could overthrow a whole country, against the same caliber of a special rank in their respective verse. That is the S-rank Hunters, the national treasures that shift the balance between continents. So what if these two groups clash against each other? Before we get into it, you need to absolutely expand the domain of that subscribe button. Seriously, support the channel. So when we scaling the S-rank hunters, if we simply take into consideration the statement of that of a national level hunter could withstand military might, then that puts national hunters like Thomas Andre, Liu Zhigang and Christopher Reed at mountain level. However, this is considered to be a lowball in the solo leveling community since Thomas Andre pushed Rakan into partial transformation, the same Fang monarch who is considered to be planetary in his prime form, which puts Roderick at continental to multi-continental level if we give him the full credits for his feat, assuming he really pushed Rakan and not just a mere fluke. With that in mind, this means national level hunters are above Beru, who one-shotted every S-rank hunter, with Goto Ryoji being the strongest because he was held as the closest one to be a national level hunter due to the statement of him aiming to be one. However, when we scale in S-rank hunters, we can compare them to that version of Song Ji-woo that was comparable to a S-rank level, when he cleared a A-rank dungeon and fought its boss, Kargalan, who showcased a town level feat which puts S-rank hunters at town level to city level of AP, with Goto Ryoji at country level because he was the strongest one and the closest to a national level hunter who are at least mountain level. Moving on to speed, Song Jin-woo was reacting to lightning while fighting Baran, which puts him and the characters related to him at massively hypersonic. And later on in the story, when Song Jin-woo fought the architect, the status were shooting beams that have the properties of light, which puts him at light speed. So for the sake of this matchup, we will put S-rank hunters at massively hypersonic and national level hunters at relativistic speed, since Andre could keep up with Rakan, who is one of the monarchs like Song Jin-woo, in other words the highest tier, while Song Jin-woo easily sitting at faster than light speed and probably higher. Moving on to these special grades, before we scale them, we have to pinpoint the official special grades and the unofficial special grades sorcerers. First and foremost, we have Gojo Satoru, Yuta Okutsu, Yuki Tsukumo, Suguru Geto or Kenjaku in other terms, and Sukuna. Now for the unofficial ones, in my opinion, since it is stated for one to be ranked as special grade, he needs to have the ability or the power to overthrow a nation. Starting off by Megumi, who is obviously now a special grade, considering the mastery he had already gained from Sukuna taking over his body. Adding to that taming Mahoraga and completing his domain, I think it's given Megumi will be a special grade since his full potential rival that of Satoru Gojo. We also have Yorozu. Although it might seem inaccurate, we have to take into action that she put up a really good fight against the one and only Sukuna, without mentioning her broken ability that is construction, being able to create anything from nothing and still generate a lot of destructiveness with her insect armor and true sphere, a sphere that has no contact area and generates infinite pressure, as a result making it untouchable. Now when we scaling them in terms of AP, we can safely say the elites like Sukuna and Gojo all cap at city level of AP, considering a weakened Sukuna could perform a large town level of attack. Also consider Urume, who scales to that level at least, since she could create a large ice structure that scales to town level without her going all out yet. The same ice that was melted by Sukuna, without mentioning Urume got one shot by Gojo with relative ease, so putting Gojo and Sukuna at city level is accurate. You can high pull them to mountain level since their stats gets amped inside their domain, but we don't know the multiplier exactly. However, any characters aside from these two should be sitting at large town level since they can't be paired with the two goats, but they don't fall too short at the same time, with the exception of Yuki, who has kamikaze attack of creating a black hole strong enough to destroy the whole planet, putting her on large planet level. However, she doesn't survive the attack herself, which means her durability doesn't pair up with the attack potency itself. Moving on to speed, we can count on Hakari, who is a special grade 1 dodging Kashimo's lightning, which puts JJK elite characters capping at massively hypersonic. On the other hand, we have a weakened and injured Sukuna, dodging Kashimo's magnetic waves, which puts him at light speed, but the thing is, this feat is very contentious. People argue that Sukuna pre-dodged that since he could perceive Kashimo's arms and movements before he even fired that blast, given how the panel was drawn. So I personally disagree with this feat. I think massively hypersonic is more like it. So how would this all-out deathmatch go? Stick around and find out. Before we really conclude who would come up on top, we have to understand that the outcome can really depend on the matchup, on which hunter faces the other. If we simply speak in stats, the S-rank hunters got the upper hand big time, specifically the national level hunters, even if we exclude Song Jin-woo. Given their clear supremacy in terms of raw strength and speed, I don't see them having issues with the hack's abilities of special grades except for Gojo, as none of them has the answer to Infinity, let alone his domain expansion, which gives the special grades the edge. However, if you include Song Jin-woo's, it's no-brainer that this will be an easy stomp for him, since he can even solo the verse. You can argue it will be a stalemate since Yuki can just blow up the planet and thus no one wins, but Song Jin-woo scales way higher than that, since he is the pinnacle of the monarchs who are at least planetary. If we exclude Song Jin-woo and Gojo, it will be really close, but the national level hunters would make the difference here since they overwhelm the rest exponentially and can deal with any hacks presented at them. However, let's say they didn't blitz Yuki before she managed to cast her black hole, then I guess you can say it's a stalemate, since no one would be able to survive that except for Song Jin-woo. So you can imagine him just chilling there, aura farming, picking up his drip, while the national level hunters get their ass handed by Gojo. I hope this broke down the outcome to you as simple as possible. Please be sure to like and subscribe and continue to support the channels. Please, I am no fraud. This season will go crazy for this channel, so show some love. Love you all, stay safe, peace.